My wrist, man. My wrist, man, please. No, I can't take that, man. I can't. I'm gonna lay on the ground. I'm gonna lay on the ground. I'm gonna lay on the ground, yo. I'm gonna lay on the ground. I'm gonna lay on the ground. I'm going down. I'm going down. I'm going down. I'm going down. I'm going down.
We need these charges brought to show these folks they cannot publicly execute black men in the streets.
Boots are on the ground. We're here. Boots on the ground.
I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't think it was one of the most important things to do. People ask me why I'm doing it, and I literally have no choice. I have no choice. I could not imagine not doing it because it needs to be done. Injustice closed these streets. What do we look like letting them open back up without justice?
The laws have to change for justice to be served. When we talk about getting justice, how do you get that? You get that through the laws changing.
Today would have been Justice Tigan's 36th birthday, but instead his life was stolen on August 19, 2009, and this Midway shopping center is the last place that he was seen alive.
I am the founder of an organization called Families Supporting Families Against Police Violence, and I work with families that have lost their loved ones at the hands of law enforcement.
You will never be able to bring this family's brother back. You will never fill that hole, but you can, in his name, stop this from continuing to happen over and over again.
I am a high school teacher, and I've been one for about 23 years, and I've lived in this neighborhood for about 23 years. I had this idea that it was really important to be a neighborhood teacher. I wanted to be able to see my students as I walk down the street, maybe even live next to them, go to the same grocery store as them. And so I bought a house less than 2 miles from my job. This is what broke my brain. George Floyd was killed about 260 steps from my door. Cup was the store that I would run to when I needed avocado or in the middle of cooking, and I would be able to keep things on the stove as I ran to get an ingredient. This is my neighborhood. The person who filmed his murder was my student. So when the uprising occurred, when the protesters gathered at the intersection of 38 in Chicago, I heard the sounds of George Floyd all through the night. I handed out water, I handed out face masks, and I joined them. Yet when the National Guard rolled up my street with the MPD shooting rubber bullets and tear gas at my neighbors, at my students, at the people gathered in peaceful protest, something in me just broke. There were military helicopters above my house. And you gotta understand, I am a veteran. I was in the Marine Corps. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, I couldn't do anything but be black and be angry. And I have been out here since.
Since the year 2000, in the last 21 years, there has been over 470 murders at the hands of law enforcement. And there has only been one conviction in the history of Minnesota, and that is a minority man that killed a white woman. And prior to George Floyd, there's been so many more murders that have gone unaddressed, so many more grievances out here in the community that have gone unaddressed, which permitted and allowed what happened to George Floyd. We just know the truth about what's going on here in Minnesota. There's no way that out of all of those bodies that it was only one man that was guilty. Like, I'm afraid for my life all the time, as I also lost my fiance and the father of my now 14-year-old son, Justin Tigan Jr. Justin Tigan was brutally beat to death by the St. Paul police and thrown inside of a trash dumpster August 19, 2009. When I walked into the mortuary, Justin's skull was cracked in half, so it was split on the right side. His eyes were like punched in. His head was this like big, the size of a basketball or a watermelon. His head was so big. It was clear that a beating had took place. He also had dog bites on his body. He just had lacerations everywhere, bruising everywhere. It was very horrific to see, and that image plays in my mind as I try to mend my life back together and move forward. But after we seen Justin beat up like this, we had questions, because originally when Justin was pulled over, we did not know he got pulled over by the police. They never told us that. They told us that he was in an accident and missing from the scene of an accident. We later found out that he was initially pulled over by the St. Paul police. You know, I'm a young black girl with a baby, you know, not really knowing what to do. You know, I went from living a normal life like anybody else with the father of my child, my fiance. We getting ready to be married. I have my engagement ring, you know what I mean? We're in the middle of buying a home when he was murdered, and we went from that to literally a nightmare overnight.
We have two objectives in this trial, ladies and gentlemen. The first objective is to give Mr. Chauvin a fair trial. Mr. Chauvin has a presumption of innocence. He is presumed to be innocent until proven guilty. We plan to prove to you, beyond a reasonable doubt, that Mr. Chauvin was anything other than innocent on May 25th of 2020.
I think what people should know is that it wasn't a coincidence that Minnesota has become the byword for systemic injustice. George Perry Floyd Jr. is known throughout the world. Why here? Why now? Because we're in Bryant neighborhood, which was historically a white neighborhood, red line, racial covenants, and yet Mr. Lee bought a house right down the street on 46 in Columbus. And did you know that the white folks in this neighborhood in 1931 all dressed up in their best suits and sat in his yard and threw racial epithets and bottles and bricks at that house because somebody had the temerity to sell a house to a black person? What people don't understand is that this neighborhood has dealt with over-policing, from the notorious Operation Blood Drive, which took almost an entire generation of black men out of this neighborhood. This neighborhood had to deal with the gang task force. They were terrorized by the police. They were robbed by the police. That's this neighborhood. Why here? Why now? because we have always been over-policed and over-criminalized, picked on, if you will.
The people in the political seats that have a chance to make change are not reaching out to the hurting families. They're not reaching out to the hurting community. They're not doing their jobs to protect the community. The people that are hurting the community, the police, they want to fund them more. They want to give them more money. If you guys aren't gonna donate money to the actual impacted people, I'm out here like working my butt off for all of our families, and I can't get people like this to donate to the work. But they did this. The people in the political seats that refuse to make changes. How much do you expect the community and the hurting people to take? You keep killing our people for no reason, for no just cause. If your life was not in imminent danger, you weren't supposed to take that person's life.
To continue to apply that level of force to a person proned out, handcuffed behind their back, that in no way, shape, or form is anything that is by policy, it is not part of our training, and it is certainly not part of our ethics or our values.
Everybody that has a balloon, we're just gonna release these balloons for justice.
He didn't deserve to die like that. Nobody deserves that. Nobody. And it's been 11 years. And that haunts me. You know, it haunts me to see a human being get killed like that. And I just wanted the truth. Like anybody else that loves somebody would want. I had an entire life planned with him, you know? And they stole that from me.
And I just want you to know that I love you always. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Continue to shine down on me and your son.
Our loved ones was murdered the exact same way, unjustly. Maybe in a different tactic. May not have been the knee on the neck. It might have been gunshots. It might have been a beating. But the unjust part, yeah. I'm just praying that it all comes out.
They murdered my nephew. She killed my nephew. Every pistol, every taser, it has a safety on it. That's murder.
Murder.
Say his name.
Dante Wright.
Say his name.
Dante Wright.
If you continue to violate the curfew order, you are in violation of an unlawful assembly. Please abide by our direction and disperse peaceably. Thank you for your cooperation.
Unbelievable that in Minneapolis, Minnesota, 10 miles from where the Chauvin trial regarding George Floyd was taking place, that a police officer would shoot and kill another unarmed black man.
I balk at putting the onus on 12 jurors to make it a testament about the United States, simply in the same way that America thought they were doing something when they elected Obama. Black folks, brown folks, and indigenous folks were still suffering under his presidency. And whether or not Chauvin gets convicted of murder, manslaughter, or walks, America has work to do. And I'm gonna tell you, every city in America that has black folk will have to undergo a reckoning. Because if any other black person is like this black person, we tired. We so tired that we're now invigorated with spirit. I'm sitting here because I'm standing here, and I'm saying no justice, no street.
So if we don't get it, we gonna shut it down. Because my boots is on the ground. And I will use my hands and my feet and my mouth to do what God has called me to do. And that's to fight for every last one of us.
So even though it hurts and it hurts bad, because I want people to say Justin Tiger name all over the world, just like they do in George Floyd. Miss Ann wants the same for Jeffrey Smith, Cordell Handy, Marcus Golden, Kobe Heiser, Travis Jordan, Demetrius Hill. You know what I'm saying? Hardell Sherrill, Phil Quinn. All of the, Brian Quinones, Isaac Aiden. All these other murders, we want to hear our loved ones' names too. Jamar Clark, Philando Castillo. But it's okay for me because at least the truth, that's one example. That's one example of the truth. And that's what I don't want them to be able to do, is to isolate this issue. And the world got a chance to see it. And that's what I've prayed for. I've prayed for the truth to come out. And it finally did.
No justice! No streets! No justice! No streets! And we mean that shit!
Please be seated. Members of the jury, I understand you have a verdict.
I know. It's okay. Don't have a panic attack. I'm good. I'm anticipating some word about something, and so I feel really furtive that I'm constantly checking my phone. I want to know when I know it.
There's no way really to describe how I'm feeling, but I am convinced that there's going to be a guilty verdict coming. It is for everyone, including Justin Teagan, who passed away. So when you hear that guilty verdict today, that is for all of our lost loved ones. We've had enough. That is for my baby, Floyd. That is for Dante Wright, my student. That is for Justin Teagan. That is for Jamar Clark. That is for all of our lost ones.
State of Minnesota, County of Hennepin, District Court, 4th Judicial District. State of Minnesota plaintiff versus Derek Michael Chauvin, defendant. Verdict, count 1. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 1, unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to.
That's one, we got two more! Derek Chauvin's been found guilty! Yeah! He's been found guilty! Say his name! 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 Say his name!
Verdict, count 2. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 2, third-degree murder, perpetrating an eminently dangerous act, find the defendant guilty. Verdict, count 3. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 3, second-degree manslaughter, culpable negligence, creating an unreasonable risk, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April 2021 at 1:45 p.m.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like you're making much more of an impact than you are sitting at home.
Yeah. Well, I hope you consider this teaching too.
You're the best teacher I've ever had, simply because you're telling me that I can do something and I can be here, and that freedom is real and justice will be served eventually or something. I don't know. I'm so emotional right now.
Yeah, we can get justice. We just gotta give it a little elbow grease.
Yep.
That's it. That's all we gotta do. I'm so glad to see you.
We still have a long way to go. I know that we're going to be supporting the right family. And then we still have to support all of the families that have lost someone.
That's right.
It's not just about George Floyd. This is a victory for all the families that have lost someone.
Every last one of our families deserve justice, and they killed a lot of people in Minnesota before George Floyd, and we want justice for them all.
Department of Justice just did number 3 of the 24 demands, and they are going to investigate the Minneapolis Police Department. But in the meantime, in between time, no justice, no street. No justice, no street.